You're watching episode 16 of WordPress Daily. We dive into two-factor authentication. Welcome to WordPress Daily. I'm your host, Tom Mullins. And on episode 16, we're going to dive into Google Authenticator and using it on your WordPress site. But before we do, we're going to take a quick look at TechMerge. TechMerge is the podcasting network that this podcast is part of. You can check us out at www.techmerge.net. Also, check us out on the Facebook at facebook.com/techmerge, Twitter at techmergenet, as well as search for us on YouTube at techmerge. And you can also support us through Patreon at patreon.com/techmerge. Any donation in any amount would truly help us continue the work that we're doing here at TechMerge, where we merge faith and technology. In this episode of WordPress Daily, it's pretty exciting as we take a dive into using Google Authenticator for two-factor authentication. And as you can see here, I've already brought up my dev site and I've done a search for Google Authenticator. And this is the most readily reviewed version. We're going to go ahead and install it live here and bring it up. So we're going to do the installation here. I'm not sure how we configure it. We're going to do this together as a team. And we'll go ahead and activate it. So what two-factor authentication does is it gives you the ability to use something that you have and something that you know. And the something that you have is a token. And in this case, it's a token that would come across your cell phone using the Google Authenticator application that you can download free in the iOS or the Google App Store. So we've got two-factor authentication up now. It's installed. So now what we need to do is go ahead and click on it. And let's see what we've got to do to configure it and make it work. So register with Mini Orange. So why do we have to register? Well, maybe we don't. So let's set up two-factor first. So we want the Mini Orange QR code authenticator, soft token, push note. Wow. We want the Google Authenticator. So we want to configure that. So let's see how that's going to go. So I've clicked on configure. And apparently Google Authenticator is not one of the standard plans options. So it is not. Wow. Well, hold on. Let's try it again. So I'm clicking configure, so I'm assuming something should happen. So I've got to register to do this. So you know what? At this point, we're going to X out of this plugin. We're going to just go ahead and call this plugin too difficult to configure. In my opinion, it doesn't need, you shouldn't have to register to use this. I'm a little bit put off by that. So we're going to deactivate that plugin. We're going to again remove that plugin. And then we're going to go download another option. So we've got that plugin removed. So we're going to go to add new, and we're going to see what we can come up with. I'm not a big fan of plugins that require all of that configuration, especially for the show. So we're gonna dive into something a little different here. This is when it was updated. It's got 8,000 active installs. Now, you know, the Google Authenticator two-factor authentication app is probably fine. It was just more than what I wanted to dig into in the show. So we're going to install this two-factor authentication, this other plugin, and see how it is and how it gets configured. Now, this is what I would expect it to be. So I can activate enable two-factor authentication. And as you can see here, there is a barcode. I would scan this with my phone, which I'm doing right now. And it gives me my two-factor authentication. Now, in this case, you can see the private key here. We're going to reset that after we're done, just because this is a test, a dev site. And you can set up some emergency codes as well. And we're going to use the time-based authentication mechanism. So we've saved changes there. We've enabled it, and we're saving all of our changes. So now two-factor authentication should be up and running for this site. So what we're going to do is we're going to log right out the way it normally works. Let's see how it works. So we're going to log right back in here, and we did. And it's asking for my one-time passcode. So I've got the Google Authentication app up right now, and it's okay to go ahead and show this. It doesn't matter because it is a one-time use code, and I'm using that. So I have successfully, in less than 5 minutes, set up two-factor authentication for our dev website. It was very simple to do. It didn't take a lot of work, so I'm going to give that plugin, that particular plugin, and I'll have the specific one in the show notes for you, 4 out of 5. It was easy to set up, easy to configure. We literally did it in less than 5 minutes, got it up and running and configured. Thank you so much for watching episode number 16, Two-Factor Authentication. I'm Tom Mullins signing off today. We'll see you tomorrow again on WordPress.